Welcome to the Cosmic Nomad. I'm your host, Bailey Rushlow, and this is a space for the curious and the heart-led, where we explore this human experience through travel, nature, spirituality, and real-life transformation in beautiful conversations. As I discover my way of living an inspired life, I'll share the practices, stories, and perspectives that continue to guide me home to myself. I'm so glad you're here. I'd love to encourage you to just do whatever makes you feel connected to this moment with me. Maybe you're listening on a walk with your dog. Maybe you want to make some tea. Maybe you're driving. Maybe you want to roll a joint. Whatever it is that brings you into this moment, I'm so glad you're here. Let's open this space with a few deep breaths together. This is one of my favorite things to do to really put us all kind of on that same wavelength, right? We're all connecting in together. No matter where you're listening to this around the world, what time you're listening, this is something that takes us outside of space and time. And that's the beauty of intention, is it's kind of limitless, right? So let's breathe together with me. Inhale. One more. Beautiful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of The Cosmic Nomad. This has been a dream of mine for a couple of years now. I tried to start it in 2023. And I was traveling and I was moving through so many different layers of myself. And even though I wanted to do it, I think it just wasn't the right time. And now is the right time. One of the reasons why now is the right time is because I'm understanding more and more that done is better than perfect. This has been such a journey in my life as a recovering perfectionist, which sounds pretty, but it actually just means that I'm really afraid of being seen doing things before I feel ready to be seen doing the things. And I'm in the process of shedding that internal belief because it's just a limitation that I put on myself. And I'm just being really vulnerable and honest because that's the way forward, right? When we bring light to things that we feel embarrassment or shame about, we actually set ourselves free from them. And so one of the reasons why I feel like I just wasn't in the right place before is because I was so worried about having the perfect sound and the perfect setup and the perfect video and no background noise and all the things. And I live in the middle of a bustling city in Mexico, and that is just not an option. No matter what time of day, there are dogs barking, there are scooters rumbling down my road. I live near a primary school, so there are children playing and singing. It is impossible to find a quiet enough moment where it will be to my standard. So, that said, we're just going to roll with the punches here. We are going to record even though there's background noise and even though there's birds chirping, and maybe it will just add some character to what I'm creating here. I've also decided not to do this on video, at least for the first season, to just really plunge headfirst into the deep end of speaking into my mic, because normally I'm singing into my mic. If you have been following me at all the last decade of creating art online, I've been creating acoustic covers, basically acoustic renditions of popular songs since 2015 I started, and this is 2025 now, recording this. So celebrating 10 years of singing and telling my versions of these beautiful songs that we've come to know and love, and sharing my art to the public and showing up consistently in all the different versions and variations of myself as I've evolved as a human, as a soul, as a, yeah, who I am to who I am today. And I'm going to do my best to really speak from my heart on this podcast, to really not focus on stumbling over my words. Again, like I said, background noise, things that are just not perfect or to some standard, because I think that also robs us of being able to see each other in our process. And that's something that has been really beneficial for me over the years, is watching people, especially the friends in my life who are incredible people, who come from all walks of life, from all corners of this globe, that I have watched journey deeper and deeper into the unraveling of themselves, letting themselves be seen in the process. They don't just show up with a final product like, voila, here I am, you know? Every once in a while they do. But most of the time, they let themselves be seen. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about this journey, although it's messy and although it's really challenging to let ourselves be so vulnerable because of the fear of rejection or fear of judgment. I think something I've come to realize about myself is what I fear other people will judge me for is actually what I am judging myself for. So if I'm worried, what you're going to think of me about this certain topic or way I'm presenting myself or whatever, I'm actually harboring this judgment in my own self about myself. I'll give you an example. I wanted to go out the other day and I decided to put on some makeup. I've had a long journey with makeup. I used to not be able to go out of the house without it. And then I moved abroad and I started traveling, and being in really hot climates made it impossible to want to wear makeup because you will sweat it off your face. So I just stopped wearing it. And I also, that began a whole journey of me becoming comfortable in my skin, becoming comfortable looking at myself in the mirror and knowing who I am without painting my face. And I've come to understand that makeup can also be an incredible tool for self-expression and all the things. So anyway, my relationship with makeup has been an ongoing thing. The other day, I wanted to go out, so I decided to put on a little bit. And I decided on the pink sparkly eyeshadow because why not? YOLO. I was about to walk out of my house and I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror, and I stopped and went, oh no, I can't do this. This is too much for me. And I was surprised at myself because my reason for thinking this was other people are going to look at me and think that I'm trying too hard. Like I'm just going to the grocery store in what, pink sparkly makeup? Like that's so not me. I'm such a low-key, down-to-earth person, and so wearing this makeup will make other people think that I'm trying to be X, Y, and Z. And I literally wiped the makeup off my eyes and walked out the door and went grocery shopping and hurried about my day. And it was such a lesson to me when I reflected on this experience that I wasn't actually worried about anyone else's judgment of me. I was simply feeling my own. And it's amazing when, like, the fact that we have this capability of reflection is so powerful, and it really is this self-awareness that we're able to develop that allows us to unfurl these versions of ourselves, right? And become more ourselves than ever. And that's part of my intention with creating this podcast, is walking myself home to myself every day in a deeper, more connective way. Releasing my hold on my judgment, on any egoic attachments, and truly being the most authentic and true version of myself that I can be. And it's hard. But I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Just continue living life based on everyone else's expectations of me, continue living life based on some weird standard that I've adopted that I believe I have to be. Like, come on, life is short. I've got maybe 100 years here, you know? At the end of the day, I really want to make all of them count. I want to look back and be like, yeah, you didn't let anything hold you back. Look at you. Look at you. I love when I think about my life, the two versions of me that stand out as the most important are my 8-year-old self and my 80-year-old self. If you're friends with me, you have heard me say this many times, probably, is that my 8-year-old self and 80-year-old self have something in common, and that's belief. They believe in me so wholeheartedly. My 8-year-old self knows that I can do anything I put my mind to. She is the cheerleader in the corner, like, yeah, girl, you go. I see you. I'm proud of you. I'm amazed by you. Like, I didn't even know we could do all the things that we're doing, but look at us go. Like, she's hyped. And then my 80-year-old self is like at the end of the journey, sitting in her garden, like smoking a joint, you know? And she's just like, yeah, that's my girl. I knew she could do that. I knew she could. And because she's already at the end, she doesn't have to worry about any of the in-betweens anymore. The will they, won't they, like, how's this going to pan out? Like, any of the anxieties that I face in today, like, she's already made it to the end. You know what I mean? So she's just looking back like, yeah, she's crushing it. And there's no right or wrong choice. I really don't believe that. I really don't think that you can mess up your life so far that you can't come back. Like, sometimes I've made choices and I'm like, I don't know if that was the right choice or the wrong choice. And I just hear my heart be like, there is no right or wrong choice. It is what you chose. That's what happened. That's the timeline we're on. And you can always change the timeline by making a different choice. You're never too far, you know? I think we all need to be reminded of that sometimes. So on to my show notes. What does the cosmic nomad mean to me? The phrase came to me one night when I was in England. I was a little high. I was in the bathtub and I was surrounded by like rose petals and snacks because I do baths like a queen. And I was laying there, I was thinking about doing a podcast. I was like, should I do one? Would anyone actually listen? Like, what topics would be interesting, you know? And I was thinking about the name. And I swear this phrase just popped into my mind, like the cosmic nomad. And I was like, oh my God, that's the coolest podcast name ever. I would totally listen to that. And it made me think of this quote someone told me when I first started making music, which was, make the kind of music that you want to hear. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And just a little side note here, I have over 22 something million listeners a year to my Spotify because I make the kind of music that I like. I make the kind of music I want to hear. And that's not just a plug to go listen to my music, although I would love if you did. It's proof that when we create what's in our heart, when we are able to bring what's inside of us outside of us, making the intangible tangible, and we're all capable of this. Every human has this superpower. It's like it's an otherworldly experience almost to be like, oh my God, if you've ever created a project that is so connected to your heart, you know how this feels, where you're like, this was just a vision in my mind at one point, and now it's in the physical. Now it exists. Now people can hear it or listen to it or see it or feel it or touch it or buy it or whatever the thing is, right? It's an amazing feeling. So my hope with this podcast is that it will be a podcast I want to listen to. Not that I will go listen to my own, although maybe, you never know. But cosmic nomad. It's a description of me. The first time I think I ever felt like a cosmic nomad was in 2019 when I went on my first ever international solo travel. I booked a flight to Scotland and I traveled around. And the things I saw and experienced changed my life forever. The way that I saw myself for the first time mirrored in the landscape around me, in the lochs and the highlands and the beautiful sunsets and the cobblestone streets. And it was so ancient and so full of life and memory and history. And I just felt like for the first time I was recognizing myself outside of myself, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? If you've ever been somewhere that took your breath away, it's not because it was just beautiful. It's because something inside of you, like a chord, was struck internally, a resonance that we feel. And I think we feel this with nature because we are her. She is us, the same atoms, the same hydrogen and carbon and calcium and all these other minerals that make up the natural world also make up our bodies. They're also, just like the ocean is 70% water, the human body is 70% water, right? Like, we are a direct mirror of the land. And although I had been raised around nature and to appreciate nature and all of that, I'm so grateful for that growing up. But I think this was one of the first times that I felt it for myself, truly, fully. And I've been chasing that feeling, not chasing, but following that feeling, following that inner guidance, leading me to places all around the world that feel like a reflection of my soul. And I think it's in the understanding that everything around us is just a mirror to us, of us. Nothing is actually separate. Nothing is inherently divided. Separation is an illusion. We are all one. I love this quote by Alan Watts that says, "You are the universe experiencing itself." And I think that that's what traveling has meant to me in the last years, because again, it's all a mirror. As much as I am externally traveling places and visiting new things and seeing ancient sites and making new friends and meeting people that speak different languages and trying new foods and all of these external things, right? I cannot even put into words what they do to you and for you on an internal level, on a level of emotional awareness, on a level of self-awareness, self-exploration, self-discovery. And that has been one of the biggest catalysts for change and growth in my life, and something I will never regret and always be so grateful for, that I've had the opportunity and the privilege to see so much of this world, and also so little of it, even at the same time. Like, I've been to so many countries and I've seen so many things, and there is more to see than I could ever see in this lifetime. And that's sad and inspiring all at once. When I met my partner, Philip, in 2020 on the beach in Mexico, we started traveling together only a few months after that. And we've been traveling together since. He's my favorite person to travel with. And we've been going about 6 months on, 6 months off since 2021. And this is the first year that I've decided to stay in one place and not go traveling for a long period of time. I think last year was my last long haul trip for a while. I need some extra time to just be in one place and be in my home, be with my cat, and continue my work in learning to regulate my nervous system, which is definitely something I'll be talking about more in future episodes because I'm really passionate about it, and it's something that we all have access to. We all have a nervous system, and we all have access to free tools and techniques where we can learn how to best support ourselves. And especially as a neurodivergent person, this is very, very important to learn how to do so that you can understand how best to create a life that supports your nervous system and supports your neurodivergence as opposed to constantly fighting against it. I wish you could see my cat sprawled out next to me, just sleeping so soundly this whole time. She's so sweet. Her name is Little Mama, and we adopted her after she gave birth on the side of the street to 4 kittens. And we went to actually see if we wanted to adopt one of the kittens, and we realized that we actually loved the mom. So we waited till all the babies were adopted, and then we took her home with us. And she is the sweetest street cat you would ever meet. She's so soft. She's so small and gentle and kind. So she's going to be my companion on these episodes, I can already tell. So this was just a little window into how the Cosmic Nomad came to be, both the name and the path that led me here. And this is only the beginning. I'm so grateful that you are here listening. Thank you so much. And if any of this part of this journey resonated with you, or if you see yourself in this journey too, in this mirror, this reflection that we're in, I would love for you to stay because we are just getting started. Next week on Tuesday, a new episode will be coming out. And if you enjoyed our time together today, I would love for you to leave a review. That would be so, so helpful to help other nomads find us too. And all of my music, if you're interested in listening, and anything that I've ever created online is under my name, Bailey Rushlow. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, I leave you with my life motto, an open heart, an open mind, and stay curious.